It is Arizona Wildcats Day here in Las Vegas at the Big 12 Media Week, as we have been calling it, and we are pleased to be joined now by the athletics director for your Wildcats, Desireé Reed-Francois, who is no stranger to this great town that we're in this week. Welcome home, I guess, to Las Vegas a little bit, right?
Well, home is Tucson, but thank you, David. You know, we're in Allegiant Stadium, and I remember I signed a beam in here, and I remember when this was really just a dirt lot. And so every time I'm here, I remember 2017 when I got hired, and my first day on the job was a negotiation session on the joint use agreement. So it's pretty special to be here. But you know what's even more special is to be around these 4 student athletes that we brought with us here to Media Day. Talk about incredible young men. These are not just great football players, but true servant leaders. And I'm sorry, I just started talking.
No.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I just riffed on it. I apologize. But I was with Anuku and T Mac and Noah and Gunnar Maldonado, and last night we're getting off the plane, and we had some travel issues, etc. And you know what they did? Instead of going over to the bus, they went and they helped the pilots unload the plane.
Wow.
They carried everybody's
Wow.
suitcase. No one asked them to do that. But I literally look over and I see all these young people, those 4 young people, carrying everybody's suitcases without being asked. And I just thought, goodness gracious, that is true servant leadership. And no one was watching, but I was watching, and I was just very impressed. Great young men.
Well, and that's what we've heard about these young men, especially the 3 from the Servite High School family there in Southern California, and the way that they were raised. And I was wondering, do you get a chance to meet a lot of the parents of these young men and what they tell you about and what you learn about how they've been raised?
I should take some parenting tips. But T-Mac's mother was here today and here last night, and she brought everybody a lei, and we were talking about, and they gave me a Polly name, and
Ooh, what's your Polly name? Can you say it? Are you still working on it?
You ask T-Mac, and T-Mac can tell you. He's the one who came up with it. But they're so incredibly respectful and just, like I said, servant leaders who happen to be great football players, and they give you a lot of hope.
Well, and your head coach, obviously, Brent Brennan, you guys have been on the tour early this spring and into the early summer around Arizona to all the different spots that you went to, and it seemed like Brent was at every single spot kind of representing this athletic department.
Absolutely. He understands how important and our fans are to what we're doing. We can't do this by ourselves. Our fans are critical, and we both came here because we love the University of Arizona. We love the Tucson community. We love our entire state. And so whether it was going out to Yuma, whether it was going out to Sahuarita or Nogales, making sure that we all did that together and went out to our fans where they were and said thank you and said, hey, we want to see you back. We've got 7 Saturdays until we kick off. How about that, David? I'm so excited.
Yeah, looking forward to that as well. That first Saturday, last Saturday in August, will be the first Saturday of the season against New Mexico. What are you hearing from the fan base when you go out to these locations?
They're excited. They're enthusiastic. They care so much, and we share that in common. Like, I'm a Wildcat, too. I'm a proud 1997 graduate, and it's just been really special to hear their stories and how much, and I love hearing people's memories. I met someone, let's see, where were we? Oh, we were in Pine Top, and I met someone who has been a season ticket holder for 71 years.
Wow.
How about that?
Yeah.
Yeah. It makes you remember the reason why you do what you do. We do it for our 508 student athletes, but we also do it for our great state because we know the economic impact, but we know how it makes people feel.
Arizona Athletics Director Desireé Reed-Francois is our guest here from Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, Big 12 Media Week. Now, we've been hearing a lot, you talk about the fans, we've been hearing a lot about fan engagement and what you want to do with that piece. What does that mean? What are we going to see at Arizona Stadium and McHale Center that's going to be different than what we've seen in the past?
Great question. Well, first it's going to start with a survey. I can't say that we're going to have that many. We have a survey coming out tomorrow to ask fans what they love, because we don't want to make change just to make changes. We want to see what's really working, and I haven't been to a game since 1997, so it's been a little while, right? So there's going to be a lot of kind of observing too and listening and learning. That's why we send out so many surveys. But we want fans to come there and have a great experience from the moment they park to tailgating to going in and cheering on our incredible student athletes.
What are, I guess, so what in terms of some of the things you did at Missouri?
Yeah.
What did you hear that fans really liked?
Everything from ingress, egress to looking at the concessions, looking at lines, cleaning out bathrooms, even stroller parking. Fans wanted to see stroller parking.
Wow.
They wanted to see lockers, food lockers, because some of the lines were long. And ultimately, the University of my former place of employment, they're putting in new premium seating, and that's going to be great for that university. And so here, I don't have all the answers, but what I'm going to do is do a lot of listening and a lot of observing and making sure that we're meeting fans where they are.
You're wearing a lot of hats right now. You're the athletics director. You're also on the council to try to find the new president of the university. How's that going?
I'm just one member, and it's an incredible group of people. And what I've really loved about it is getting to know my colleagues throughout the campus. Like I said, we can't do this by ourselves. We need great partners, and that's what I'm really proud of, and I'm appreciative of being able to be a very, very small part. But getting to know the colleagues on that search committee, they're working really hard. They know how important this hire is, and we know how important the University of Arizona is to the entire state.
Now let's talk. We're on the radio, so let's talk some radio, because there's going to be some changes in how that operates within the department. I don't know if you know this about me, but I initially came here to work for IMG College within the building, which was now Learfield. You guys are moving away from that third-party model, bringing it back in-house to how it used to work in the old days. What went into that decision?
Yeah. We, the university, before I got here, partnered with a company called Ernst & Young, EY. And they looked at all of our revenue streams, all of our expense items. They analyzed our multimedia rights, and we looked at the analysis, and we decided that we would play the long game. We liked the flexibility. We liked the opportunity to really bet on ourselves and not pay a third party that overhead piece, and so that way we could invest it back into our student athletes. As you know, with revenue share coming, we've got a big bill coming, and that's a great opportunity for us. We're going to participate at the highest levels. We're going to be aggressive, but we also talk about being innovative, and this is one step towards that.
How do you marry it? I remember when I first came here and I started doing it, because I'd never worked in corporate partnerships at the collegiate level, and I always thought it's kind of strange, because you've got our end, and we're calling on people. You've got the donor end, which a lot of those are the same people. It's like, how do you marry that? Is the goal to marry all those elements together?
You hit the nail on the head. Exactly right. We wanted to make sure our folks were getting hit by multiple constituents, multiple groups that are asking, and so we wanted to make sure we had that full kind of cycle, that full complement, so they're working together as one team. So if someone is a donor but owns a company and they want to be able to have their company sponsor Arizona athletics, then you know what? Arizona Sports Enterprises, Nikki Berry, Sammy Swagger are the people to go to, but that way we can have a fully integrated model. And you know what? There's going to be any new initiative like this, there's going to be some bumps along the way, and that's okay. But we are going to work really hard, because this is an important initiative for us. But we also are going to work really hard because we have to make Tucson proud. We have to make the whole state proud.
And obviously the first question we got was, what does this mean for Brian Jeffries, the longtime voice?
Brian Jeffries, part of the family from the very beginning. Brian Jeffries is staying here. Brian Jeffries is the voice, and he was one of my first calls and said, Brian, you're going to hear this. I want to explain what it means, and I just want to make sure you know we want you as part of this family.
That's outstanding to hear that.
41 years, I think.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's getting close to that for sure.
And he was so amazing throughout the caravan, and he's the voice, and we want to. Yes, we're going to make some new innovative changes, et cetera. But there's also, being a 1997 graduate, I have a great respect for the tradition and the foundation of Wildcat athletics, and he's part of that.
And we were wondering, if your son was going to become a part of the program, and he has.
Yes.
Jackson's going to be playing basketball at the University of Arizona.
Yes, Jackson. He just moved here about 3 weeks ago and is starting workouts, and he's excited.
That's outstanding. And what has he loved most about this whole change so far?
I think he loves Tucson, and he's always heard me speak so favorably and so highly about Tucson. And I think he is really looking forward to getting to know his team and getting to know the other student athletes. He got here in a time when there weren't very many student athletes around, and so I know my son, and he's social, and I think he's really looking forward to creating those connections.
Now, is he going to have his own place, or is he going to be living with mom and dad?
Nah, he's got a roommate now. I was like, hey, do you want it? We've had a house, and actually, we spent the 4th of July. This is super fun. I almost had a mutiny on my hands, but we spent the 4th of July weekend painting our entire house, and I was like, look at you, can just move back in. And he's like, no, mom. Like the boys, they mutinied on me. They're like, all right, we're done. We painted for 3 days. We're done with this.
And you took the new commissioner, or our new commissioner, Brett
Yeah.
Yormark, up to meet the regents. How did that go over?
It went really well. Brett is, he's great at explaining kind of where college athletics is going. He talked about kind of some of the innovative initiatives that we have in the Big 12, and it was very favorably received. He talked also about the branding power of college athletics and what it means to the overall university. When you excel in athletics, we're the front porch. When you excel in athletics, it galvanizes your donor base. The economic impact we've talked about, that's roughly $265 million that Arizona Athletics brings to our state. And then he also referenced how important it is not only just for philanthropy, but for admissions and for enrollment and for the overall student experience.
Desireé Reed-Francois joining us for a few more moments here at Allegiant Stadium. You come right in, and you had to hire 2 people right away for your swimming programs and your women's golf programs.
Yes.
What can people understand about your philosophy when it comes to coaching hires and the people that you're looking for?
Thank you. There's nothing more important that an athletic director does than hiring great head coaches. He or she, no one will impact your student athletes' lives more than their head coach. So it's a responsibility we take very seriously. When we hire any staff member, we look for people of high character. And character for me is defined as selfless, smart, and hardworking. Low ego, right? Tucson is a community, the state of Arizona is one that, we work really hard. And no one is bigger than the program. So we need someone of low ego and then high output and energy. If you hire selfless, smart, hard workers, you link arms and you all work together, excellence will be the byproduct.
And obviously, when you talk about the 2 programs, I mean, obviously, women's golf has had a lot of success in the last 10 years. Swimming has taken a step back. Do you have an additional role in how to get swimming back to where it was when I first got here, the year after they'd won, both the men and the women had won national championships?
Coach Laura did a great job on the women's golf, and we won our national championship in 2018 under her leadership. And I wish her the absolute best. But Coach Giovanna Maimon is going to be, I remember her when we were at the University of Missouri, and she and I talked about Lorena Ochoa and the impact it had. And when Laura called me to let me know she was going to go to Texas, I asked her if there was anything we could do to keep her, and she said no. And then the first person I thought of was Coach Gio. And so I called her, and we did a full process, and I appreciate the search committee, but she rose to the top, and she's going to be excellent. And then Ben Loers. Ben Loers is someone that I worked with here in Las Vegas at UNLV, and I have always been impressed with what he was able to do with minimal resources and his reputation in the swimming community. He does it the right way. And again, another selfless, smart, hard worker, and the future. And when I'm really appreciative of Coach Amanda Beard, and Amanda's on our staff, and her selflessness it was inspiring, quite frankly.
Okay, so I'm going to be here till Saturday. So give me one restaurant and one place to see maybe that Desiree really loved to take people to when they came to visit her in Las Vegas.
Okay, I loved Red Rock Canyon to go hiking.
Canyon. All right.
Yep. And
might be little hot to go.
Go really, really early.
Really early.
I mean,
okay.
it's beautiful. Red Rock, even if you just drive the loop, it's beautiful, beautiful. Nate, help me out. What's the Italian restaurant?
Italian restaurant.
There's an Italian
probably
restaurant.
The one that Brian told me about. Brian gave me a really
okay,
good Italian
and it was
restaurant.
it was in that TV. I wish my husband was here. It was in that TV show, and it's like Pia Zadora sings at it, and it's like old school Vegas. No, not Vivace. Huh? Nope. All right. I'm going to
All
have to
right.
get back to you, David, because
Okay.
it's really, really good. Nate, obviously, we've got to expand his culinary opportunities here. But Nate's doing a great
All
job.
right.
But yeah, all right. We got to get him out more. But I'm going to
Okay.
remember that name and let you know.
Outstanding. Hey, Desiree, we appreciate you taking a few minutes to join us.
Thank
Looking
you.
forward to continued conversations as we get into this new era of the Wildcats in the Big 12.
Thank you for having me.
She is Desiree Reed-Francois, the athletics director at the University of Arizona. Cricket is getting you home every 20 minutes on the fives with your traffic and your weather.